Salvete viatores, and welcome back to Let's Translate Eutropius's Breviarium Historiae Romanae ab Orbe Condita. Last time, we read about Numa Pompilius and all of his accomplishments during his warless reign, and we pick up right where we left off. We begin, Huic successit Tullus Hostilius. So Tullus Hostilius is, of course, our subject, our new king, and successit, I think it takes a dative, because huic is the dative form of hic, which means this. So it's like Tullus Hostilius succeeded basically him. Or, like, this man. Right? I'm right on that, right? Indeed I am. So, Tullus Hostilius succeeded him. If you really want to be literal, this man. Also, I use in 1853 translations sometimes, just be like, okay, what exactly is this saying? And get a bit better understanding of what it's really what Eutropius is sometimes trying to say. But the good Reverend John Selby Watson translated this as, to him succeeded Tullus Hostilius? Like, why? Why would you translate it that literally? That does not sound good in English at all. But enough about an old reverend. Hic bella reparuit. So, reparuit is our verb, bella. There we go. So, reparuit, renewed bella wars, and hic. This is something that I actually had a fun time finding out when translating this before. So, hic. There are actually two words that are spelled this way. It's a homonym. So, there's hic, which, as I just said, is the nominative form of huic. And then there's hic, which is an adverb. A pronoun versus an adverb. And the only way to know which one you're dealing with is to know if the I there is long or short. Hic or hic. The only way I can really confirm that it's hic is through a different text that actually has the long marks in it. It's the Gutenberg text in the description, by the way. It's a good one. Got long marks, got notes. Translation notes, in fact. So, yeah, that's a good text to use. But it actually makes a pretty big difference in translation, whichever one you use. Because hic would mean it would be this man, or like this implied man, aka Tullus Hostilius, renewed wars. But hic is an adverb for here. So if we're using hic, then it's he renewed wars here, or even the wars here, as in the wars stated here in this writing. The big difference for such a little change in pronunciation that I find rather fun to figure out. But yeah, this is the adverb, because I just think it makes more sense, because since when has Eutropius restated a subject in this way before? We've only read 3 chapters given, but he's always sort of implied the subject, not even restating it with a pronoun, unless he has to. In fact, I don't think he has at all. But I don't think he would, even if I don't think he would, unless he has to. Which is why hic makes much more sense here. So, Tullus Hostilius succeeded him. He renewed the wars here. I'm trying to think if it's Albanos or Albanos. It's Albanos. Albanos wicket. So he defeated or conquered. In fact, it's probably. I'm going to be telling a bit more about this later, but I think in this case it would sort of be conquer, but defeat still works. So he defeated the Albanians, and these are not Albanian Albanians, these are Alba Longan Albanians. Remember Alba Longa from last episode where Nuba Pompilius brought in the Vestal Virgins from? The sort of birthplace of the Roman people? Yeah, the same Alba Longans. Or Albanians, I suppose. Qui ab orbe Roma duodecimo miliario sunt. Who, once more relative clause, going up to here, who are duodecimo miliario. Now this sort of tripped me up initially. Like, it's clear what it's trying to say. 12 miles from... They're 12 miles ab orbe Roma, from the city of Rome. But more literally, and what I think is actually really interesting, is these are the ablative. And what tripped me up is, why are they in the ablative? I mean, I would assume it's because of ablative placeware. But wait, if it's just 12, like the cardinal 12, then why is it using a case at all? Cardinal numbers don't decline, and it's actually an ordinal number, meaning 12th. And then miliarios isn't just a mile, but in particular a milestone. Miles for the Romans were measured by 1,000 paces. A mile was 1,000 paces, and at each of those miles was an actual milestone. A stone marking that mile. And what this is actually saying, most literally, you could still translate it as 12 miles, but it's literally at the 12th milestone. And realizing that, it's like, oh, I don't know. See, I guess it's kind of inconsequential in terms of the translation, but I think it's cool. Either way, oeientes et fidenates. Oops. Good enough. And there's no verb here, but it's just we're using wicked. It's similar to when Romulus was conquering all those people in the second chapter. And I just realized whenever there's or at least, I mean, we've only had 2 lists of this sort, but both times Eutropius has had the first item on the list before the verb, and then the rest come afterwards. I don't know if that's just a thing. I don't know why exactly he would, but I literally just realized that. If you've got any explanation for that, then go ahead and leave it in the comments. But either way, he conquered the oeientes and fidenates. Quorum, once again, QU, relative clause, goes up to here. Quorum ali sexto miliarios absunt ab orbe Roma, ali octavo decimo. So there's our verb, absunt. Technically, our subject is technically ali, and then another ali. So ali is, it's a pronoun? It's technically an adjective. But it's similar when used in this way. You may already recognize it. It's similar to neque and et, or etque. when used in the same sentence. Remember how those became neque neque was on its own and not, but when there's two in the same sentence, it's neither nor, and then et is both and. Here it's one and another. So, one of which is present, technically, as obsunt. I think you could get away with just saying is, similar to just how it's just sunt in the last relative clause. But it technically is present at the 6th milestone, or 6 miles, from the city of Rome. The other at the 18th, or just 18, and then implied from the city of Rome. And then bello superavit, he excelled. Since we're not in the relative clause anymore, it's once again referring back to Tullus Hostilius. He excelled at war. This is, I think bello is an ablative of respect. Like, he excelled in respect to war, but to make it sound better in English, I'd say it's he excelled in war or excelled at war. Either of those works, in my opinion. Urbem ampliavit. Ampliavit. You may recognize another word of the same origin, amplius, from... I think it was technically amplium in the first chapter, that first relative clause. So he grew, orbem, the city, adiacto caelio monte, I think this is ablative of means? Like, by adding, or, yeah, like, by the addition, I think, of the Caelian hill. I think that's just how you would put it. I don't know they're quite... Like, this is a participle, but then all three of them are ablative. I don't... Wait. No, it is an ablative absolute. This is an ablative absolute because it's a participle plus a noun. Yes. So this is an ablative absolute. But instead of having added the Caelian hill, it's more just what would make sense. He grew the city by the addition or by adding the Caelian hill. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, now to go over that sentence that took up 3/4 of the whole chapter. So he renewed these wars, or the wars here, because hic is not accusative, it's only nominative. He renewed the wars here. He defeated the Albanians, who are 12 miles, or at the 12th milestone, from the city of Rome. The Veantes and Fidenates, one of which is or is present at the 6th milestone, or 6 miles from the city of Rome, the other 18. He excelled at war. He grew the city. With the addition of the Caelian hill. I guess. It's kind of saying the same thing, but it's not quite saying the same thing in the same way. I'll let it slide, for now at least. I'll figure it out with the full English translation of the whole thing. But let's finish up the chapter. Cum triginta et duos annos regnasit. When, this is the conjunction version. of Cum. So when he had ruled, this is not perfect. This is pluperfect. So when he had ruled, 32 years. In fact, I guess maybe, or I guess it's more just accusative duration instead of direct object. Fulmine ictus cum domo sua arsit. So this is kind of a weird one. So ictus is a participle struck. Fulmine, by lightning. So I suppose that's ablative of means. So struck by lightning. Maybe having been struck by lightning, he burned with his own house. In fact, this is the prepositional version of cum. Oof on that one. Oof on... We were going so well by natural causes, though, I suppose... Actually, no, we're in more of a pattern here. We've got an act of God taking Romulus, then Numa Pompilius just dies of natural causes, and now Tullus Hostilius dies by another act of God. Well, I suppose we will have to see if the next king dies of natural causes. In fact, actually, now that we just finished this chapter, I do want to bring attention to Albanos Wicket. He conquered the Albanians. There's actually a bit more to that story, and I did want to bring that up, as well as one more thing that Tullus Hostilius did that is actually kind of really important for Roman culture. Not yet, but it'll become especially important later on. So the war between Rome and Alba Longa actually has a bit of a legend around it, where both Tullus Hostilius and Metius, the temporary leader of the Albanians, agreed that a war would be too costly and would leave both vulnerable to an Etruscan attack. So they agreed on a small battle between two triplets. The Romans sent the Horatii, and the Albanians sent the Horatii. Whichever of these triplets would live through the battle would be decided as the victor of the entire war. During the battle, the Horatii managed to wound all three of the Horatii, but two of the brothers of the Horatii were killed in the process, with all of the Horatii alive. The last of the Horatii, Publius Horatius, managed to win the day due to the wounds previously inflicted, gaining victory for Rome. So now the Albanians were subjects of the Romans, and when the Veientes and Fidenates did attack, as Eutropius told us they would, the Albanians abandoned the Roman army just before the battle. However, Rome was still victorious, and as punishment, Tullus sent the entire population of Alba Longa to live in Rome, so that they no longer had a city of their own. They just sort of lived on the Caelian hill. But that also grew Rome's population massively. And not only did he grow Rome, but during his reign he also supposedly built what would become one of the most important buildings in Rome, the Curia Hostilia, also known as the Senate House. Seeing as Rome eventually becomes a republic, this building will only grow in importance as the years go by. He apparently built it over an old temple that burned down, reusing the land for something that would become incredibly important for Rome and Roman culture. The Curia actually does exist in Rome now, and you can go see it in Rome, though that is not the same Curia. That is the Curia Julia, built by Julius Caesar after, well, the Curia Hostilia was used as a funeral pyre. Gosh darn, the politics of the Roman Republic ruining everything. Okay, now, that we've learned about Tullus Hostilius' accomplishments and what happened during his reign, his war-filled reign, as shown by his hostile name, let's just... This next chapter is super short and will only take a few minutes, so... And also there's not a ton to talk about with him, honestly. So let's just move on. Post, after, hunk. This. After this. Ancus Marcius. Numai ex filia nepos. Suscepit imperium. So, after this, Ancus Marcius, the nephew, or it's technically like a relative, but Ancus Marcius was the nephew of Numa from his daughter, like, by his daughter, basically. Nephew. Ancus Marcius was the son of Numa Pompilius' daughter, and that's how he is Numa's nephew. So Ancus Marcius, nephew of Numa from his daughter, succeeded, or not really succeeded, took up. He took up, or took power, I suppose. Or maybe assumed power would make sense. Since he didn't, like, take power, he more so was chosen for it. So, the assumed power, I think, makes sense. Contra Latinos demicavit. So he fought. Contra is a preposition. Latinos. He fought. Oh, that looks more like a bracket. He fought the Latins. Because let me just say, Rome is not the only Latin culture out there. Or, well, it was. Aetinum montem civitati adiecit et ianiculum. He added, or annexed, the Aventine Hill and the Janiculum to the city. Civitati, dative. That's simple. Apud ostium Tiberis. Let's just see if I can make this look decent. Because I've got that parenthesis. I guess I could do that to make it look more clear. I don't know. But apud ostium Tiberis. Civitatem supra mare. Sexto decimo milliario ab urbe Roma condidit. So, he built a city apud ostium Tiberis, near the mouth of the Tiber. By the way, we know that the object is civitatem because it's the only thing in the accusative case aside from ostium, but ostium is being used in this prepositional phrase, so he has to have built a city. Also, you know what city this is if you recognize ostium. Ostium, that ought to sound familiar, so it is that city. Supra mare. I was kind of unsure on how to translate this. Supra is sort of like beyond, above, and I was like, what exactly? Eventually, I came to the conclusion of it's like on the sea. It's not quite that, but like it's like just beyond the sea because, okay, dropping the pretense, he founded the city of Ostia, which is Rome's most famous port city, like an important port for the city of Rome, rather than Rome as like a whole country empire thing. So this city was founded on the sea. It's a coastal city. So I think on the sea for supra mare makes sense. Without like adding in on the coast of the sea or something like that. Sextodecimo miliario ab orbe Roma. So sextodecimo miliario on the at the 16th milestone, or 16 miles from the city of Rome. Oh wait, first the whole sentence, which is almost the entire chapter again. He fought against the Latins, added the Aventine Hill and the Janiculum Hill to the city. He built a city near the mouth of the Tiber on the sea, 16 miles from the city of Rome. Cool. That was honestly rather like even easier than most of these other chapters. There wasn't really much of anything that was too much tripping me up. Vicesimo et quarto anno imperii morbo periit. So periit is our verb. Vicesimo et quarto. We've seen a similar phrase in the third chapter, but in the 24th year of his reign, he died of natural causes. So hey, we are keeping up the pattern. We've got Romulus, who was taken by an act of God at some random storm. Then we've got Numa Pompilius, who's died of natural causes. And then we've got Tullus Hostilius, who died from a lightning bolt, or maybe burning with his house from a lightning bolt. And then we've got Ancus Marcius, who died of natural causes. I wonder if we can keep this up. Yeah, I don't think I have anything too much to add about Ancus Marcius, honestly. Other than something cool that I have read about him is that he went to war with the Latins because they declared war on him, thinking that he was going to be a peaceful king similar to his uncle, Numa Pompilius. They very much underestimated him. And so he got to annex 2 more hills, 2 more of the 7 hills of Rome. I just thought that was kind of neat. So now we will continue to the Latin reading of both these chapters, and then an English reading of them both. Well, I'll figure out exactly how I want to translate adiacto Caelio Monte. Huic successit Tullus Hostilius. Hic bella reparuit, albanos vicit, qui ab orbe Roma duodecimo miliario sunt. Veientes et fidenates, quorum ali sexto miliario absunt ab orbe Roma, ali octavo decimo. Bello superavit, urbem ampliavit, adiacto Caelio Monte. Cum treginta et 2 annos regnasit, fulmine ictus cum domo sua aresit. Post hunc, Ancus Marcius, numae ex filia nepos, suscepit imperium. Contra Latinos dimicavit. Aventinum montem civitati adiacit, et Janiculum. Apud ostium Tiberis, civitatem supra mare, 16 miliario ab orbe Roma conditit. Vicesimo et quarto anno imperii morbo periit. Tullus Hostilius succeeded him. He renewed the wars here. He defeated the Albanians, who are 12 miles from the city of Rome, the Veientes and Fidenates, of whom one is present 6 miles from Rome, the other 18. He excelled at war. He grew the city, having added the Caelian Hill. When he had ruled for 32 years, having been struck by lightning, he burned in his own home. After this, Ancus Marcius, the grandson of Numa by his daughter, assumed power. He fought against the Latins. He added the Aventine Hill and Janiculum Hill to the city. He built a city near the mouth of the Tiber on the sea, 16 miles from the city of Rome. He perished in the 24th year of his reign by natural causes. Until next time, we will read about the reign of Lucius Tarquinius Priscus. And no, it's not the Tarquinius that you're thinking of. This is the good one. Valete veedores.